Welcome to the Carpenter House Marine Environmental Education Center. This is a historic home built in 1941, though nowadays it has been transformed into the Marine Environmental Education Center, which features the latest research on different aspects of coastal ecosystems, including sharks, sea turtles, corals, and various other topics. Hello there, I'm Glenn from the Marine Environmental Education Center. This is NSU and Broward County's partnership that has resulted in this center here focused on coastal ecosystems and especially sea turtles. So me, myself, I come from a Hispanic heritage. So my father is Mexican, my father's side is Mexican, my mother's side is not, but to me, a quarter is just enough. So I am slightly Mexican, I consider myself, but I've always aligned myself with my Hispanic heritage. So I'm happy to contribute to Latinorific and be a part of this wonderful experience for you all. Here at the NEEC, we do focus on the struggles that our coastal ecosystems face. And these struggles are similar in a lot of ways to the struggles that we face as people, especially as Latinas coming into this country and trying to make their big start. So this retreat will focus on a lot of that, and we will see how sea turtles embody the spirit that each of us seek to embody to lead a successful life. Adaptability, tenacity, persistence. Sea turtles embody many of the characteristics that are important to succeed in today's world. Sea turtles face multiple threats throughout their life, yet they are able to adapt and overcome these threats by using their resilience and strength. As hatchlings, sea turtles face numerous threats. They are bite-sized for just about anything out there. Predators on the beach include ghost crabs, raccoons, foxes, pets, and various other animals. But another major threat for sea turtles is light pollution. Light pollution distracts them and disorients them away from their intended goal. Just like bright, shiny lights distract us from our paths and take us to an area where we think is full of ease and promise, oftentimes these areas are harsh and artificial. So for sea turtles and us alike, it's important that we shield ourselves from these lights to make sure that we stay on our journey. As adults, however, sea turtles are much more capable of handling natural threats. Their primary natural threats are sharks, and they are very good at getting away from them. Sharks are really quick in a straight line, however sea turtles are much more maneuverable. So as a shark spots a turtle and comes in for the attack, the sea turtle will do what we call a carapace turn. Well, they'll turn their back towards the turtle, or towards the shark, and as the shark comes in to bite them, they're too big to get their mouth around. At this point, the turtle will swim circles around the shark until the shark is tired and gives up, and the turtle is able to escape to safety. Unfortunately, unnatural threats, principally bycatch from fisheries, impact turtles much more severely in today's world. Bycatch comes from many different fisheries, but the two most prominent ones are longlines and trawl fisheries. These fisheries take hundreds of thousands of turtles each year, but they primarily affect loggerheads and leatherback sea turtles. These human nets easily ensnare sea turtles as well as these hooks. So these are a constant threat for these adult life stages. We sea turtles are much better naturally at surviving. Because of this, the hatchling survival rate is 1 in 1,000. That is 1 in every 1,000 sea turtles hatchlings will survive to adulthood. So in an area like ours, and where in 2016 we put out 140,000 hatchlings roughly from Broward County, if you do the math, so 140,000, 1 in 1,000 survive to adulthood, it's 140. And of those 140, on the beaches, we're only going to see about 70 because only the females are coming up to nest. So from that great number, 140,000 down to 70, those are the odds that sea turtles face. So they must use all their wiles, all their adaptations, and persistence to make it through. Around here, we do have several species of sea turtle, We have loggerheads, leatherbacks, green sea turtles, Kemp's Ridleys, and hawksbills. Loggerheads are the most common around here, though they're not nearly the largest. They're 250 to 300 pounds, so a good size for a turtle, but they are super tough. They are thought of around here as being a very common species, and that's because Florida hosts 95% of the North Atlantic loggerhead nesting, and actually 40% of the loggerheads throughout the world nest in Florida. Because of that, Florida is known as one of the last strongholds for loggerheads globally. So that's why it's very important for us to continue conservation of this species. Green sea turtles also nest on our beaches. They get anywhere between 400 to 600 pounds. So these are very big, powerful animals. And on the beach, these mothers are impressive. So they crawl much higher onto the beach, where they lay their eggs in the dune systems oftentimes, protecting them from big storms, such as Hurricane Irma. Most of the nests that survived the storm were green sea turtle nests that were laid up in the dunes. And these turtles are definitely not to be messed with during nesting. They're capable of breaking concrete benches and pavers. Nothing stands in front of these women and keeps them from nesting. Leatherbacks are the largest of all. They get over 2,000 pounds in some areas, and they are just massive beasts. They are different from all the rest of the sea turtles because of their flexible leathery shells, which allow them to dive deeply and also to face cold temperatures and allow them to travel the world. So these turtles, we don't get very much of around here, but a lot of people, when they see them in the open ocean, they think of them as lethargic and kind of lazy looking turtles. But these turtles swim thousands of miles a year, traveling into the Arctic cold, the tropical warm, and are able to persist in all of these areas. I don't think they're quite so lazy. The Kemp's Ridley is the smallest turtle, and they are one of the most endangered because they're only in the Gulf of Mexico. Now these Kemp's Ridley, though small, they're rather tenacious. They're feisty little animals, only getting about 100 pounds. But when you are working with them in rehab, you often feel like they're trying to kill you. The hawksbills are the prettiest sea turtle. They are well known for their shells. They have beautiful patterns on them as well as overlapping scutes. Unfortunately, because of their beauty, they are still hunted and persecuted. So this turtle is critically endangered throughout the world, and this is because of their beauty. So that is another area where we need to help to conserve to make sure that we are protecting these species in areas throughout Mexico and the Pacific where turtle hunting is still happening. Here at the Carpenter house, we do feature a rather tenacious turtle ourselves. So there are two turtles whose story I will tell you so that you can see the resilience and capacity of sea turtles. Captain, our turtle here, was hit by a boat 7 years ago. She healed from that injury, but as she was healing, she unfortunately got air trapped in her shell. Now, as green sea turtles eat seagrasses, they need to dive down to the bottom to be able to survive. Because she was stuck floating at the surface, she got weak and was unable to get down to feed and thus stranded. She's had a long fight in rehab, but after several years, she was doing very well and was able to be released. Unfortunately, when she was released, her buoyancy issues came back. So just after a few weeks, she stranded again and had to continue rehab. She stayed another few years at Moe Marine Lab. There, they determined she couldn't be released into the ocean. They looked for a forever home. So here she has moved in. She still has her weights, which allow her to swim and dive like a normal turtle, but she's acting as our sea turtle ambassador, helping to spread the word of all the threats and also the beauty that happens in our coastal ecosystem. One other turtle that really demonstrates tenacity is a loggerhead that lives in Florida Bay. So researchers first encountered this turtle over 20 years ago. At that time, she was missing her rear right flipper as well as much of her shell. That carapace had been bitten away by a shark. However, she carried on and she was spotted in 2015 nesting. At that point, she had propeller strikes on her back that had healed, but she had also been hit by a boat. So this turtle has lived quite a life. She's missing a large part of her body. She was hit by a boat, was able to heal, and still continues to nest. So even though she's had such a hard life, nevertheless, she persisted. Turtles embody many of the characteristics we always want to remember: tenacity, adaptability, persistence, creating abundance, and sharing stories. For us, it is important to share their stories so that we can continue to conserve this species.